We thought they were Super Bowl favorites, Super Bowl contenders. They're just pretenders, the great pretenders, adrift in a world of their own. They think they're the best team in the league, and they still haven't figured out that they ain't. Maybe I think they know now. I think the 49, you look at them after the game, they know. This is not a confident team. This is a team that thought the loss to the Browns was a one-off. Then they thought the loss of the Vikings was really just a two-off, and now they have to look in the mirror for 14 days and say, we're not good. We lost to 3 mediocre teams. We're fake. They're not even first place in their division. They don't even get a Fernando. They get the great pretender. I don't know what happened to this team. They gave Kyle Shanahan an extension after week 3. They celebrated after week 5. They crowned themselves in September. And now it's not even November, and they're in shambles. Their entire season is in shambles. A month ago, we were looking at this team like, man, this is the perfect team. They have no weaknesses. But you know what? There is no perfect team. And that was the tip-off right there. When they looked so in control of their season, you knew something was bubbling under the surface because no team is in control of their season. No team is perfect. All of a sudden, 3 weeks later, it's like, what does this team do well? They don't have the quarterback. They don't have the defensive coordinator. They don't have the defense. They don't have the depth on offense. They may not have the head coach. Other than that, great team. Not even as good as the Seattle Seahawks. And I would just want to say, I picked the Seahawks to win this division. I was not sold on this team. I was not sold on Brock Purdy. A lot of people took victory laps after week 1, week 2, definitely after week 5. Is this team going undefeated? Is Brock Purdy the next Joe Montana? Man, he may not even be better than Sam Darnold. We'll talk about that in a bit. But like after the game, George Kittle was talking. And it's the same thing that these players always say when they lose. He said, it'll be good for the Niners to lose this game because going into a bye week, they'll really stew on it. It'll really piss them off. Man, the Vikings loss didn't piss you off? You weren't stewing on the last 2. You needed a 3rd loss to get your head right. I don't buy it. You know what's wrong with the Niners? They're not that good. They're pretenders. It's not that they're not focused, that their mindset isn't right, that they need to humble themselves, that they need to stew on losses. It's that they're not as good as we thought they were. Period. They're not as good as the Bengals. They're not as good as the Vikings. They're not as good as the Browns, who lost to the Seahawks, who are better than the Niners. That's what we learned. Now, the Niners are 5-3. Last year they were 3-5. But they can't trade for Christian McCaffrey again. Yes, Deebo Samuel and Trent Williams will come back eventually, but what about the defense? How bad is the defense? And what's going on with Brock Purdy? Does he need 5 All-Pros around him on offense to be respectable? Or is the book out on him? Is he now becoming a turnover machine? He's been a turnover machine the last 2 games, and he's gotten his head knocked around, and he's little. Fred Warner spoke after the game. He speaks for the team, and someone asked him about Brock Purdy. Are you losing confidence in Brock Purdy? And he said, what do you want me to say? Then he said, Brock Purdy is the least of our problems. Okay. File that away. Few minutes later, someone asked Fred Warner, well, how you feel about Steve Wilks? He says, Steve Wilks is the least of our problems. Okay, so when Fred Warner says so-and-so or such and such is the least of our problems, that's his way of saying so-and-so or such and such is the source of our problems. That's how he says it. He speaks backwards. It's like opposite day. So yeah, I think the Niners locker room is starting to lose confidence, not only in themselves, but their coaching staff and their quarterback. Other than that, team's tight-knit. KOSZG says this team is so undisciplined, bad tackling, missing catches, interceptions, poor coaching. Yeah, but it's a good thing they extended his contract. You want stability, not urgency. George Larmy says, hey, this team, they fall in love with the quarterbacks too fast, and they made a big mistake. They should have had a quarterback competition, a legit quarterback competition. They never gave the kid a chance. Yeah, it should have been like The Bachelor. 3 quarterbacks and see which one has the best personality. You know what I mean? Who and then by the end, you just give the guy a rose. I think they should have done a reality show called 49ers Quarterbacks, The Bachelor, 49ers edition. I think it would have been fun. Gregory, although Jimmy Garoppolo would have won. Gregory Young says maybe more time running the hill with Jerry Rice instead of Cabo. Defense has been atrocious the last 3 weeks. What the heck? Ivan Tina says, turns out we beat up on pretenders. Turns out we don't have a genius and just traded for a good running back. There's a lot to that. David Trinidad said the Niners lost, but fans can still marvel at Purdy's beautiful spirals, even when the pass is incomplete or intercepted. Do you agree? I think his spirals were phenomenal in this game. Give him credit. Moises Rosales says Philly would look the same if they were missing Lane or Kelsey on the O-line and one of their top receivers. I'm 100% calling Niners get back to scoring 30-plus when they're back. I'll check in a month. Okay, Moises, you check in. King Geo says idiots will still blame Kyle when Brock has 5 turnovers in 2 games. At least give him a top 5 quarterback before you guys slander his name, bruh. Give him a quarterback? What is he, the offensive coordinator of this team? Does he not run this entire team? Did he not hire the general manager himself? Give him a quarterback? Man, he's been the coach of this team. He got hired like a month after my dad retired. I was 29 when he got hired. It's on him to find the quarterback. He said that Brock Purdy was the real deal. He believed in Brock. Don't tell me that he's not now. I mean, I knew that he wasn't, but you don't get to say that, King. I love you, King Gio. I'm sorry, I'm worked up. MCDD says, Mahomes played worse than Purdy today and got destroyed by the worst team in the league. We are overreacting. I'm sorry. Has Patrick Mahomes not won a couple Super Bowls? Did he not do that? A couple, 2, 3? Can we stop comparing Brock Purdy to quarterbacks who were really, really good? Because he's not. KOSZG says defenses know we only throw to the middle of the field. Yeah, it's true. Ray Histo says need to abandon the wide 9, not getting pressure, constantly giving up wide open run lanes for running back and the quarterback. The secondary is playing too soft all game. Yeah, pretty much. Night Tide says people hate on you for the takes you put out there, but they almost always end up being right. Do you think they can turn it around this year? Yeah, I mean, they're going to win more games, but I don't think they're going to go to the Super Bowl or win it. I don't. Brock was still in concussion protocol. He cleared it, says King Dodongo.